couple days ago, the news broke that there's going to be an HBO TV series that's going to be adapting the Harry Potter books. I myself am a huge fan of the books. It's actually kind of crazy how many times I've read them. They're just so easy to read. They're so good. The plots are amazing. Characters are great. Dialogue's fantastic. They're humorous. They're heartfelt. I grew up with them. I mean, my mom read the books to me, the first few of them, because, I was a little kid. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And then as they came out each year, I got a little bit older. I started reading them. And then it just fit. I mean, it became my favorite book series of all time. So I've probably read them at least a dozen times. It's almost gotten to the embarrassing point, but they're just so good, I don't fucking care. Anyway, I liked the movies. Wasn't a huge fan. I loved talking with my family about, what things we liked that they did in the movies, what things we wish they had kept in that they had to exclude because of, you only have 2 hours, 2.5 hours to tell, the story of a 700-page book. So I just loved speculating. I loved, discussing what could have been done better. And as a fan of the books, I'm really excited with the news that there's going to be a long-form TV series where each season is going to be focusing on one of the Harry Potter books. And so with this news breaking, lots of media outlets, lots of fans are doing videos, making articles and all this to try to figure out what's going to be going on. So I'm just going to go over one article I found today. I'm probably going to be doing a couple others in the next few days. I just want to see what other perspectives are out there besides mine, because I'm going to be doing, some videos of top 10 things I want to see, what I want the field to be. Do I think it should stick to the movies or completely blaze its own trail and just go, a book to TV adaptation without any outside influences from previous work? Right now, though, I found the CBR article, what the Harry Potter TV reboot can add to the franchise. And so you've got your little intro here, basically saying that fans like certain things that were in the movies, certain things that were in the books. Here's a couple things that were left out that we could include. And so I'm kind of interested in this person's take. The first thing that he wishes, or at least he thinks that fans wish, were included in the movies that weren't, was Dudley's redemption. Very interesting take here because it was kind of just tossed in at the end of the 7th book where, Dudley's a jerk to Harry his entire childhood. He terrorized him, he bullied him. He had a gang of friends that their favorite thing was to pick on Harry. And then all of a sudden at the beginning of the 7th book, Dudley kind of says, oh, thanks for, saving me from the Dementors in the 5th book, and I don't think you're a waste of space. So, to each their own. This wouldn't even make my top, 30 list of things that I wish were included in the movies that weren't. But, all right, there's one. Harry Weasley's disguise. So Harry taking Polyjuice Potion at Bill and Fleur's wedding at the beginning of the 7th book. I mean, yeah, that's nuanced detail, but it would be good, to include that. I want a straight adaptation of books to TV. But interesting that there's only 10 of them here. Interesting that makes the top 10 list. Dobby having a bigger role. This one I agree with quite a bit more. Dobby is really important throughout the series. He's a big part. Obviously, he's focused on in the Chamber of Secrets movie because that's where he's introduced in the series. And he's more of a key part there trying to prevent Harry from getting to Hogwarts because he doesn't want Harry to, fall prey to the plot that the Malfoys and Voldemort are, kind of working behind the scenes. Nearly Headless Nick's 500th Death Day party. This would be an awesome thing to include in the TV show. To those of you who aren't sure, aren't fans of the books, Nearly Headless Nick invites Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Basically, Harry does him a favor because Nearly Headless Nick got him out of a jam. And Nearly Headless Nick wants Harry, who is a superstar, super famous in the wizarding world, obviously. He wants Harry to convince another ghost who is he's the leader of this all ghost group called the Headless Hunt. So it's basically a men's ghost club of guys who have been beheaded. And so nearly headless Nick is nearly headless, so his head's still partially on. So he's trying to get Harry to convince this guy to take him into the club. Sounds kind of weird when I explain it, but it leads to a funny scene. And so Harry, Ron, and Hermione attend on Halloween night. Instead of going to the feast, they go to nearly headless Nick's 500th death day party, where they're rubbing shoulders with a bunch of ghosts, and they can't eat any of the food because it's all moldy and stuff. All right, here we're getting a little bit more into stuff that I'm agreeing with. Winky, not mentioned at all in the movies. Winky is the house elf of Barty Crouch, who is also really he wasn't a big part of the Goblet of Fire. The Goblet of Fire was a quintessential, I've always said that the Harry Potter series is a mystery series. It's a fantasy series, but it's mystery fantasy. And the Goblet of Fire is just a masterclass in how to weave a mystery plot. And Winky is integral to the plot of Goblet of Fire because Barty Crouch is supposed to be dead. He's alive. He is Voldemort's secret weapon working at Hogwarts in the guise of Mad-Eye Moody. At the Quidditch World Cup, Barty Crouch is there, hidden under an invisibility cloak. Winky is there supposed to be saving Barty Crouch Sr. a seat, but she's really guarding Barty Crouch Jr., who is invisible in the top box, steals Harry's wand, conjures the Dark Mark, sets this entire thing in motion. Winky knows everything that's going on because she is in the confidence of her master, who also knows that his son is alive. She's the linchpin, basically, in that whole mystery plot of Goblet of Fire. One thing, if I'm more excited for anything about this series, I hope that Goblet of Fire is done justice, because it's such a long book because there's so much going on. The mystery elements are just incredible. And I'm probably going to do a video just on Goblet of Fire, talking about what I want to see in the series. Next, St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries. Yeah, okay. I'd definitely like to see this. In the 5th book, when Mr. Weasley is attacked by Nagini, when he's guarding the door to the Department of Mysteries, right? Yeah. He ends up getting attacked, goes to St. Mungo's to, heal over Christmas break or whatever. And in this scene, we kind of catch up with Gilderoy Lockhart, who's been in there long term because his memory is completely destroyed since he tried erasing Harry and Ron's memories in the Chamber of Secrets. We also find out that Neville's parents were Aurors who were tortured into insanity by Bellatrix Lestrange. And they are also in the long-term care unit of the hospital. And so Harry, Ron, and Hermione see Neville here. And we really kind of start on the path where we see Neville's kind of parallel path to Harry. And we find out later, actually at the end of Order of the Phoenix, that Neville could have been the chosen one. He and Harry both matched the prophecy equally, but Harry was chosen by Voldemort unwittingly. So it's kind of cool how that all starts. There's also another subplot here. When they're in St. Mungo's, one of the ministry workers who actually works in the Department of Mysteries, he's called an Unspeakable. He is actually in one of the beds, hospital beds, when they're visiting Mr. Weasley, and somebody brings him a gift. It's a plant. It ends up being Devil's Snare because he gets assassinated. And so again, mystery plot. Just this guy ends up dying. Oh, it looks like an accident. But then Harry, Ron, and Hermione are like, wait a second. We know that guy. I think his name was Bode, and he was an unspeakable. And we know that there's something that the Order of the Phoenix is interested in the Department of Mysteries, and all of a sudden this guy ends up dead. That's, coincidence? I don't know. So lots of small stuff here that just couldn't have been tossed into the movies, understandably, but in, a TV series that has, 10, 15, 20 episodes, that would be something really great to leave in there. History of Magic. More of a something I'd love to see. Not really super important plot-wise, but it's just accuracy to the books. They spend a lot of time in their classes, and one class that they're just never in the movies, because it isn't included, is History of Magic, taught by the ghost Professor Binns. And one thing that's mentioned here is, in the movies, Hermione asks Professor McGonagall if she knows anything about the Chamber of Secrets. In the books, she asks Professor Binns, and he gives them, kind of the legend behind the Chamber of Secrets. So yeah, being able to have History of Magic as an actual class would be really great. SPEW, the Society for the Protection of Elfish Welfare, started by Hermione. Big plot point in Goblet of Fire, and continues also into Order of the Phoenix. Hermione, it's kind of a cultural thing in the wizarding world that house elves, they work for wizarding families, especially really wealthy ones. Like the Malfoys obviously could afford a house elf to keep house elf. They had Dobby. Hogwarts has the largest number of house elves in any dwelling in Britain. And it's just kind of accepted that house elves serve wizarding families. House elves themselves are very happy, like that's their purpose in life, to serve a wizarding family until they die. The only house elf that really wanted freedom was Dobby, and he was able to get it. But the other house elves just they're just not, that's not what they want. They've lived their entire lives doing their job. And that job is to serve wizarding families. So Hermione is very against, she wants to free the house elves. And so it's a kind of a side plot point, but it's quite a big one throughout Goblet of Fire, in that it spans, throughout the entire book. Apparition class would be a good thing to include, but again, probably wouldn't break my top 10 list of things that needed to be adapted. There's so many other things that I would include here. I wonder if this person is actually a fan of the books, or if he just needed to get this done in a few hours, and he looked up online, what are things that got left out of the movies? And lastly, and no surprise here, Peeves. Peeves the Poltergeist is, he's such a great character. He's funny, and he's just an absolute menace. He's a jerk. Teachers, students, ghosts alike, Peeves lives to cause chaos. The only person he respects in the entire castle is actually one of the ghosts, the Bloody Baron. The Bloody Baron scares Peeves, and that's it. Other than that, Peeves breaks shit. He gets people in trouble. He's a menace, and I would love to have him included in this new TV series, because he's included in, throughout the books, 1 through 7. He's there, and it adds a lot of the day-to-day atmosphere of Hogwarts. Like, Peeves is ever present. It's just not Hogwarts without Peeves. And that's not to say he's endearing or anything. He's a jerk. He's funny, but he's a jerk of a character, and he gets the students in trouble as much as he possibly can. Anyway, this is just a long-winded rant. Some of the things that this particular person thinks should be included, I agreed with some of them. I agreed that some of them are, it would be nice to have them there because I want a straight adaptation, but there's so many other things that I would rather have as a priority that make it through to the adaptation of the TV series. And that's all I got for today. I'm going to make some more videos about this soon because I just want an awesome adaptation of the books. And that's all I got. Thanks for listening.